All right, so I hope everyone can see my presentation well. And I want to share with you this question, have you ever heard that female researchers leak from the scientific pipeline? I guess some of you have heard about this expression. So what is that? According to UNESCO, and this is data from 2020, when it comes to studies at the bachelor and master's level, women and men are somehow in a playing level field. The percentages of participation of women in bachelor's and master's program are very similar to that of men. It's about 53%. Then there is a bit of a decline, that it's not very big when it comes to PhD, when it comes to women pursuing and graduating from PhDs. And I'm looking at my figures because I want to give you the exact number. It's 43%. So there is a decrease of 10% when it comes to women pursuing PhD activities. But then there is a dramatic decline when it comes to the actual number of women who are becoming scientists, like actual employed researchers in the scientific institutions. We go from 43% of women pursuing and graduating from a PhD to only 29% of women becoming employed researchers. And yet, once we're in the scientific pipeline, the retention of women in academia is 20% lower than that of men. And so what is the problem with this leaking on the research pipeline? That this phenomenon is affecting women along their entire career path. So sometimes people may say that, well, it's basically in this step after PhD to go into postdoc. No, this is also affecting women who are in their postdoc phases and that they are looking for consolidation, even to become like a principal scientist. And the main problem is that this is affecting the future generation of scientists, because if we cannot retain women in academia, we will be losing the next generation of mentors and role models to the scientists of the future. And so what has been assessed by UNESCO and other institutions, what scientific research says is that this scientific leakage is leading to a loss of competitiveness, talent, creativity, and financial resources. So we women are necessary in the scientific pipeline, and we really want to keep women where they have to be. So as I said, at IPBO, we believe that we can keep women in their scientific trajectories by empowering them with new skills. As you've heard from our fellows today, it's about soft skills that are very important. It's about negotiating, it's about communicating. But it's also important to help our female fellows to expand their networks and to increase their visibility. And we don't only think about visibility through social media, but we also look at scientific visibility, and you will see how. And so what are the 4 main objectives of our program? The first is to enhance the scientific outputs of our fellows in fields that are relevant for African and the EU agricultural sectors. We really want our fellows to be able to produce science and high quality science. We want to expand and consolidate the Belgian African scientific actions. This means like future collaborations in projects, PhDs, etc. And also the ultimate goal of our program is to contribute to reduce the dropout of early and mid-career scientists from the African research and academic institutions. And so how is the Open Doors Fellowship organized? We are having, I'm going to show you now how is the program organized. You've seen a bit from Monique and Marina and Adiola, but we are going to try to put it in a more structured way so you can have a glance, a good vision on what the program is about. Okay, so we are having basically, oops, so some animations have just gone like a bit wild. Sorry about that. We are having basically 5 main areas of intervention in our program. At the center stage, we are having the hard and soft skills, the acquisition of hard and soft skills by our participants as a way to navigate their career path with more confidence. And I'm very glad, because this is something that has been repeatedly said by our fellows. I'm more confident now. Anik said it, Adiola said it, Marina said it after the trainings they received. We also work, of course, on providing scientific visibility. We also work on expanding the network of peers and research collaborators in this part of the world, in Belgium. Through this expanded network, you have already seen, for instance, in the case of Marina, that there is an increased possibility of working on collaborative research projects and access new sources of funding that otherwise, without partners here, you won't be able to access, for instance, to Flemish funds or funds from the Belgian cooperation. And also, we really want to help also our fellows to bring back to their institutions the need of having gender inclusive policies, and that a working environment that supports women, it's essential for them to stay on the scientific pipeline. So the Open Doors Fellowship Program is a program that lasts 20 months. In the first cohort, it was lasting 24 months, but due to the new arrangements, we had to sort of condense it a bit. So each cohort now is going to be 20 months of training, okay? And as Adeola had mentioned, we are split our program into 2 phases. Phase 1 is a short research stage here in Flanders, in Belgium, okay? And I have to say that this is coming in a fixed time of the year. Fellows cannot choose. It comes from the 3rd of May, and I'm saying 3rd of May, I'm being very specific because this year, the 1st of May is a public holiday, but it's basically from the 3rd of May until the 15th of July. The reason why we're doing this is because interviews are going to be going on until February, end of February, most likely. We will have to communicate to our selected candidates at the beginning of March. And then it requires a bit of time to do the paperwork and the visas, as all of you know. And we also want to receive everyone together at the same time, because another element that we want to foster in our program is this sense of belonging, of having peers with you. It's a group of women who are staying here together, so they can help each other, they can collaborate with each other, they can know each other. And we also hope that whoever comes here, these 8 fellows, end up developing also their internal network and their internal support group, not only while you're here, but for the future to come. So that's why we also want to bring everyone on board. And because there is a 1 week of inception on the program where you will be going through some of the courses that the fellows have presented. And then we allow people to choose, we allow women to choose whether they want to stay 8, which is the minimum amount of time you can be here, 8 weeks to 12 weeks. We also recognize that some of you have kids, have professional and personal duties that you cannot kind of abandon. And so we try to give these 4 weeks of flexibility for you to say whether you want to stay 8, 9, 10, or 12 weeks. But then we can't go any more farther than 12 weeks. So this is the 3 months that I was said before by the fellows. And then the phase 2 is a phase that it starts right after all of you go back home. So you will be receiving training and research incentives while you are back at your duty station, and it starts immediately after you go. So all the courses you will be signing up for in phase 2 will be, of course, online. This is a bit of a busy slide, but bear with me, I'm going to take you through that. So what we're showing you here is a timeline of the Open Doors Fellowship Program, okay? So we're in this phase, October, November, December of this year, when we are opening the slots, we're opening the applications, and we are hoping to get as many applicants as possible. And then in January, we will close with the application. The deadline is on the 10th of January, 2023. And so we will be on the selection process between January and February of 2023. By March, we will communicate to all of you the results, and we'll communicate to everybody, whether you have been selected or you have not been selected. So in this case, like the no news, good news doesn't apply. Everyone will receive a response from our side. And then in April, you have a preparatory month. It's to discuss also with the researchers here, whether you need to bring material or, any preparations you have to do before you arrive. And as we said, this is already part of phase 1. And then you have this 3 months research stage in Flanders. Then upon returning to your duty station in August 2023, we already start training block 1 that will last until December. From there, we initiate in 2024, January, training block 2 until June. And our program will finish with a final training block, which is a bit shorter, 5 months, in November 2023. And so there will be some, what we call learning moments from the cohort. We call this cohort beta because Marina, Anik, and Ariola belong to cohort alpha. And we will be gathering inputs from all of you you see these pink triangles, because we really want to know how things are going. How are you progressing? Whether you need to readjust your calendars when it comes to trainings, etc., etc. Okay, and this is definitely a busy slide, but I want to present to all of you here what are the courses that you will be able to join when you're in the Open Doors Fellowship Program. During the phase 1 in Flanders, as we said, the short research stage, you will have face-to-face soft skill courses while you are here in Flanders. One is the cross-cultural communication, and this is a course that takes place before you land in the labs. And it's a course where our fellows will be sitting in the same room together with the researchers who will be hosting them. And so it's a bit of a way to connect before the internship starts, the short research day starts, in a safe environment outside of the lab where everybody is together and where people will be brought into the elements that you should consider when you are working with someone from a different culture. So we all get to become much more aware of what could be the different barriers or elements that could hamper a proper cultural communication process. And it really helps people to put themselves into the other shoes. And it proved to be very, very successful last year. So people went to the lab and they were like already much more aware of, what could be the things happening there. So everyone recommended that we had this course as a must. So you will have this course before going to the lab. Then we will have the Present with Power with Hands on the Water is an organization called The Floor is Yours that is giving women the capacity to present in public and in a very engaging manner. Also, we will have a workshop. This is going to be a 2-day workshop where we collaborate with our fellows and their PIs here as well on how to develop competitive project proposals. And finally, there will be a short symposium where fellows will be presenting their work here. And there will be a final study tour so they can also visit other institutions around that might be of interest. During phase 2, this is when you're all back home. We start with training block 1, and during the training block 1, we're going to have the speaking science course. This has been already mentioned by some of the participants. It's a 5-week course, and we are teaching every Thursday. We've been teaching for 5 weeks, 3 hours, where we train people on how to produce press articles, how to do storytelling. And I'm glad to say that we're having today with us Patricia Nantes, that she's been one of our allies, and she will be hopefully also participating in these courses through the Science Stories Africa. Then we'll also have a cross-cultural communication, a continuation to follow up, because some of the cross-cultural elements can be dragged in time. The collaboration never ends with or keeps on going with the Flemish groups here. So we think it's important to keep that cultural awareness awake. Then you'll have a negotiation skills course. And for the first time, fellows will be able to access the VIB, the training portfolio of the Center of Biotechnology of Flanders, where IPBO belongs. The Center of Biotechnology for Flanders has a large capacity building portfolio of courses that are online and face-to-face here in Flanders. And these courses are for our scientists usually only. But through the Open Doors Fellowship, the Capacity Building Office has agreed to give exclusive access to our fellows. So the agreement that we have is that fellows will be able to select throughout this 17th month period in phase 2. That's why it's listed below in column here. So you have access to these courses in block in semester 2 and semester 3 and semester 4 of a maximum of 6 courses, 3 on soft skills and 3 on hard skills. So for instance, hard skills could be how to program in Python, or our courses like the one from Anik, next generation sequencing, and soft courses could be the self-leadership course that was taken by our fellows here, or how to conflict resolution as well. There is one of our courses on soft skills that we also have. In this case, you can see a green pin. That means that you have the chance to do 6 courses, 3 and 3, as I said, but maybe you can't. So the only request we have here is that you will have to do over 17 months, at least 1 on hard skills and at least 1 on soft skills, okay? And then during this period on block 1 on semester 2, we will also have the online cafes. These are webinars where we want to give scientific visibility to our fellows. So we would be bringing our fellows into webinars where we are also connecting them with other scientists, and so they can present their science. The 8 fellows will have to present each of them will only have to present once across the 20-month period. So that means that during this period of the year, 2 of you will be presenting and then the others will be attending, while, in block 3, there will be another set of fellows presenting, for instance. And finally, we will also organize what we call the Open Doors Learn and Share Talks. This is new. The Open Door Learn and Share Talks want to become safe spaces where women can connect online. We can all come together and then we can share, about situations, or we can discuss about topics that are relevant and are important for us. For instance, one of the sessions we want to prepare is how to identify and how to raise concerns about sexual harassment in the workplace. These are elements where we want to bring fellows in a safe environment and discuss things that are of our concern as women in the workplace, or for instance, comparing policies from different institutions about, breastfeeding, motherhood, and how the institutions are supporting women who are in a lactation period. So we can also get this, we can create these guidelines and share among all the institutions across. And it has a yellow pin because we're requesting you to attend at least 80% of those talks across the 17 months. In training block in semester 1, so this is after, we are already in 2024, you'll have a leadership course, and we will wrap up on the cross-cultural communication sessions. And then we are offering a coaching session on project management, but this is volunteer. Some of you may want to do it, others may not. And it's a coaching program that lasts for a year. You are having 9 sessions with experts where you are meeting, and also some webinars where you are connecting with other professionals that are working in the project management system, so you can also kind of learn from them. And as I said, this that has a blue pin is voluntary. So project management will start in 2024, and it will continue in 2024, second semester. Then we are also providing, as we said before, incentives to enhance your visibility and recognition. okay? And what do we mean by incentives? These are also voluntary incentives, so you can choose to get them through the program, or you may choose not to do them. One of them is that in the event that you want to attend to an international conference and you are selected for an oral presentation, we will sponsor for you a bursary to travel there. But as I said, it has to be only when there is an oral presentation. We want people to see you, and usually with posters, you don't get to see that. You don't get to see the fellow. We want to see you on stage. That's why we're also training you on how to present with power. And if you get selected for an oral presentation and you want, we will sponsor a bursary for you to travel there. Also, for those fellows who are publishing a paper related to their research activities, either as a first author or as a corresponding author, we will support the open access fees, so you can go open access. And also we will sponsor Science on the Road grants. And I hope Patricia is listening here. The Science on the Road grants are grants that will give you a training on how to do storytelling, how to show on camera, and how to explain your story through videos, which I think has been very empowering for some of the fellows we've been having in other courses. Okay, that was a heavy slide. Right. So now I guess all of you want to know who are eligible candidates, right, under the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Please, you can go to our website and you'll see this thumbnail, this banner. This is the applicants portal. Please click there and you'll find all the information I'm presenting right now, but in more detail. So don't miss this and read it carefully before you go and apply. Okay, we need applicants who are following all the criteria below. It's not one, it's not two, it has to be all of them. You must be an early career scientist. This is either a postdoc with 1 year at least of defending your PhD or in a mid-career position. And we don't care what your age is. You can be 35, you can be 55, you can be 49, we don't care. But you have to be already in the postdoc phase 1 year after PhD submission or gaining PhD. You have to be working in a center, in a research center or in a university, and you should have a contract over the period of the fellowship, which is going to be 20 months. We have to make sure that whoever enters into the program will be able to finalize it and is not going to be let go halfway through. You also must have an active line of research in agricultural related fields. We are going to show which ones, and you must be supervising either MSCs or PhDs or staff, which I think it's most of you doing that. And so what are the disciplines that the Open Door Fellowship program is targeting? We are looking at scientists working on agrobiotechnology, plant breeding, molecular biology and genetics, microbiology, chemical ecology, plant and soil health. And this is new from this year. Livestock and aquaculture are also fellows we are welcoming on board on the Open Doors Fellowship program. Okay, another element, and this is very much connected to the VLIR-UOS policy, is that we are looking at candidates that have to be national and resident in one of the VLIR-UOS scholarship countries. And I'm going to show you right now which are those. Or, exceptionally, it can be an employee of a target organization in one of these countries, okay? And in those cases where you're having a different nationality from the one of the country where you're working, we'll have to analyze case by case. So what are those countries? These are the countries highlighted in the map. VLIR-UOS scholarship countries are Benin, Burkina, DRC, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda, okay? And Nigeria, we have to say it's not a VLIR-UOS country, but because we know there is a lot of interest in Nigeria and we have very strong partners over there, and we know that the potential is really huge, we are sponsoring also fellows through the Marca, Nora van Montegu Fund, okay? It's important to let all of you know. All right, so what's the way fellows can connect with the research institutions in Belgium. And I think it's now this is somehow related to the question that was being posed before by Mary. And like, I haven't seen this sweet potato call we are going to show you right now. There are two ways in which fellows can apply and can enter into the Open Doors Fellowship Program, what we call the modalities, okay? Just give me a second, I think I'm running out of battery here. Excuse me, all right. There are two ways in which people can access the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Oops, you still see me? Yes. It's modality A, okay? And in modality A, we are having African fellows, African candidates who are willing to explore new partnerships with Flemish research groups, okay? They've never worked with them, like Anik, Marina, and Adiola did. They've never known about them, but all of a sudden they are seeing on our website that there are some slots for short research stage being proposed that are matching their needs, that are matching their interests, that are matching their research activities. And so basically they apply, they present an application where they are creating a project to connect their science of Africa with the Flemish research groups. So what we want here is to create new and solid partnerships north-south. For us, it's very important that there is a strong synergy, that we can really prove, or that the fellow can really prove complementarity, because we really want those partnerships to last and be strong and be sustainable. So it's a way to collaborate. We want this to be a two-way road. It's not only like the North helping the South. We don't want to see it like that. It's also a lot of the science being done in Africa who will be helping scientists here. And I think that, for instance, Anik's example is excellent. She had that sweet potato here in Flanders. They had never thought about doing it in sweet potato, and this collaboration has proven to be very successful. That's modality A, okay? So where can you find the slots available for modality A for the next cohort intake? When you go to our website, you will see this section here that is called Flemish Research Groups Portal, and there you will find slots being open this year, okay? Please keep on checking on the coming days, because we have 3 more slots coming soon, but they haven't been published yet. So far we have 6, but there are more coming. So it's just that we didn't have the time to put them all up and running on the web. But please keep on coming on the, keep on checking, sorry, in the coming days. So here, our fellows should align with the scopes required by the Belgian, the Flemish group. They are opening a slot and they are describing their ongoing research. They are opening themselves to have African collaborators, and they're looking for particular profiles, all right? So please take time to read carefully the documents and the materials that have been provided by the Flemish groups, so you can really make sure that you align yourself with those projects. This is an example of the slots that we are having this year. We're having on soil health, on nematodes. We're having one on how to modify certain plant traits through program cell death. Again, the in vitro plant biotechnology lab where Adeola did her work is opening a new slot this year. We're having new ones such as studying the impact of mycotoxins in human health. This is a bit of an exception because whoever applies for that will be working with human samples, but it's all about understanding the inflammatory processes of mycotoxins in humans' body. Also, how to study plant pathogens interactions and elucidate signal pathways when a pathogen attacks a plant. Or maybe we have another one which is about how plant volatiles can improve plant growth under biotic and abiotic stressors. This is just a taste of what we have there. So I ask you, please, if you're interested in one of those, to click open and read carefully the calls. On the modality B, we are also allowing candidates who have previous experience working with Flemish groups here to present a joint proposal with their counterparts in Flanders. This is for those who have been or have connections in Flanders, that they know people here, that they've been having joint research in the past, and they want to expand that research or consolidate it further. Okay, and in this case, our fellows will be working directly with the Belgian groups, and then they can submit their proposal. As Marina had said, we are having 8 scholarships. Okay, we wish we would have more, but we can't. And at the same time, we really want to make it a very tailored and personalized program. So we are having 8 scholarships, and these will go for modality A and B. And we are going to select applications based on their high quality, their excellency, the potential for future partnerships, and the suitability of the candidates, of course. Deadline for both modalities is 10th of January 2023. Because we experienced this last year, we cannot extend it anymore. So whatever application comes on the 11th of January, unfortunately, we won't be able to admit it. So please make sure we are having 2 months that you submit before the 10th of January. What should you consider when you're preparing your application based on the last year's pitfalls we had? Kindly read the guidelines, understand the call. We realized that a lot of people really didn't understand what the Open Doors Fellowship program was. This is not a postdoctoral problem, a postdoctoral program, or this is not some people thought that they had to come here for 2 years, and that's not the case. Or some people were asking us funding for their own research in Africa, and they sent us budgets about 100,000 euros for a research activity. This is not what the Open Doors Fellowship is, so please take time to read the guidelines. Submit all the required documents. We also saw a lot of applications were incomplete last year, so we had to go back and forth. This year, we're going to send you an email as soon as we receive the application, and after the time we are submitting you that email indicating that you are missing X, Y, and Z documents, you'll have 10 days. 10 days to reply and give us the documents that we need. If you don't do that, we understand that you are not any longer interested in the program, and so your application will not be considered further for the next round of selection. Invest time in the quality of the proposal, please. Make sure that your objectives are specific, but as Marina said, they're also realistic. Last year we had amazing projects, but we could have done like 2 PhDs out of those projects. So make sure that you're also being realistic and that you can measure the objectives as well in the proposal. Try to highlight as much as possible why that partnership between you and the Flemish group will be strategic, how this connection will translate into further research work collaborations in the future, and think mid-term and think long-term. And finally, what's your suitability as a candidate? Some of the fellows are asking, for instance, not the fellows, but the PIs are asking that they need someone who has previous experience, for instance, on managing qPCR. If you have that, just say it, mention it clearly, and even, provide some evidence on that based on a paper that you've published. But if you don't have that expertise, maybe it's not good that you're applying, because the moment that you will come here, you will find yourself like dragging or suffering, because you need that in order for you to learn other things, and so to start growing from that step. So that would be a bit of a challenge for you. So when you submit your application, you must have the application template fully filled, either for modality A or for modality B. And you also need to provide us with supporting documents, okay? And we have a detailed list of what those supporting documents are in our applications portal. Please read them carefully. At the same time, we are asking all of you, please, to submit 3-page CVs. It's impossible for us to be reviewing CVs that are 50 pages, and that's not the purpose of sending a CV like that to an application like this. So please make sure that you are really reading carefully what are the documents that we need, so you can submit what we are expecting from all of you. And then I would like to highlight the fact that applicants can only submit one proposal per call, either in modality A or B. This means that an applicant cannot submit this year in this call, for instance, for 2 slots in modality A. Oh, sorry, the light has gone off. I've been sitting for too long. So we cannot have 2 people applying on modality A, 2 slots, or someone applying on modality A and also on modality B. So either you go for A, 1 slot, thank you, Grace, or you go for B, okay, but you can't do both. And finally, I guess some of you are wondering, what is the program going to offer me when I go to Flanders? We will cover your flight tickets and your visa costs. We will be provided a subsistence allowance, a health insurance while you're in Flanders. We cover your bench fees in the Flemish labs, so there has to be no money exchange between your centers and us. And also a month public transportation pass, so you can get to work every day using bus, but some of you may also choose to go by bicycle. That's we will sort that out later on. All right, so I know it was a bit long, but I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. And you have all this information, sorry, on the, let me go back to that slide, on our website. But you know, sometimes when you say it in person, it's better than when you just let people read. I want to go back to this one here. If you have any queries, whatever you want to find out, please send us an email to IPBO, sorry, it's to IPBO, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and also on LinkedIn, right? There will be new things coming in the following days. So